Dogs are loyal, smart, and as loving as animals ever come. But at the same time, sometimes you can't make sense of the things that your dog does. As humans, it's not always easy for us to understand what our dogs might be telling us. But with some careful observation, you can begin to understand some of the ways in which your pet tries to communicate with you. From sniffing each other's butts to barking at reflections and licking just about everything. In this video, we're taking a look at 15 of the strangest dog behaviors and explaining what they really mean. Number 15, chasing their tails. Now, this one is pretty common in dogs of all kinds and breeds. It might seem like a harmless, playful thing that your dog likes to do from time to time, and for the most part, it is. However, if your dog starts chasing its tail constantly and obsessively, it might be a sign of some kind of allergy or anal gland problems that your pup is trying to take a look at. But how do you tell the difference? Well, it's simple. If your dog is easily distracted and stops chasing its tail when you engage it in other activities, it's likely that it's nothing serious. But if the behavior continues, that's when you should start worrying. Number 14, sleep running. Tons of dogs do this thing where they start jumping and moving their limbs in their sleep, as if they're running. Some even go as far as to twitch, kick, and paddle all the way with eyes closed. And while it might make you feel like something is wrong with your dog, when it does this, don't worry, because all of this moving, jumping, and running in their sleep is because dogs, like everyone else, dream in their sleep. And all of these movements are a result of their body's response to whatever is happening in their dream. But if you're still worried about your dog having a seizure, try waking your dog up as soon as it starts moving. If it wakes up, there's nothing to worry about. Number 13, licking everything. It's an understood fact that dogs like to lick everything and everyone, especially if they like them. But what most people don't know is that there's usually a reason behind all the licking, and the reason is that a dog's tongue has tons of sensory receptors that allow them to feel things. So just like you would use your hands, dogs use their tongues. Similarly, most dogs learn this behavior from their mothers who lick them to show affection, which is why most dogs tend to do the exact same. Number 12, head tilt. Have you ever noticed your dog looking at you and tilting its head as if it's asking you a question? Dogs are very observant, and they try to make sense of everything that's going on around them. So this head tilt is a way for them to express their confusion when they can't hear something or if they're struggling to understand what you're trying to tell them. Another reason why your dog might tilt its head to the side is to try and locate where a certain sound is coming from. But if you find your furry friend doing this constantly, make sure to get them checked out because it might be a sign of certain medical issues, and it's always better to be safe than sorry. Number 11, rolling on the ground. A simple answer for why your dog loves to roll around in the dirt is because it feels good, especially if your dog wants to scratch an annoying itch. But there's another reason behind this goofy little act of rolling around on the ground. The truth is that dogs are naturally always on guard, wanting to protect themselves from any kind of predators, which is why they roll around in dirt to try and hide their scent, which offers them protection from being sniffed out by their enemies. With all that dirt comes a lot of sense now, right? Number 10, scooting on their butts. You'll often find your dog dragging its butt across the floor, and while it might be pretty embarrassing, put your own feelings to the side because the boot scoot isn't indicative of anything good. Dogs usually drag their bottoms on the floor this way when they're dealing with issues like diarrhea or any other kind of anal discomfort and wounds. This dragging is your pup's way of trying to get rid of the pain and irritation. So instead of trying to make your dog stop, take them over to the vet immediately to get the issue sorted as soon as you can. Number 9, humping. Right up there with the boot scoot, we have humping on the list of some of the most embarrassing things your dog will ever do in public. So what does this mean? Well, if your dog isn't spayed, humping other objects, or in worst cases, other dogs or even humans, obviously means your dog is looking to mate with someone. But what do you do when your dog is spayed? In this case, it usually means that they're just excited and looking for attention. Sometimes dogs also hump other dogs to assert their dominance. In these cases, distracting your pup with a toy usually works best and saves you from the horror of your pet humping anything and everything in sight. Number 8, staring at you. You know the term puppy dog eyes? Well, it's a real thing because if you're a dog owner, you'll notice your dog stopping everything just to stare up at you with their big eyes. Now, you can flatter yourself and think it's because your dog just loves looking at you, but chances are that your dog is doing this because it wants to be showered with some cuddles or some treats. And, well, with those puppy dog eyes, how can you ever resist? Number 7, walking in circles. A lot of dogs tend to walk in circles a bunch of times before they finally decide to lie down and sleep. Now, some owners find this annoying because really, what's the point, right? Well, try all you can, but your dog just won't understand because this is a habit that they've inherited straight from their ancestors. Back in the day, dogs would walk around the spot they chose to sleep in to soften up the grass, twigs, and anything else that might be lying around in their nesting spot. Over the years, this has just become a behavioral pattern that's passed down from generation to generation. Number 6, sniffing other dogs' butts. Let's face it, dogs don't just have the same kind of social lives as humans, which is why they greet each other in some pretty unusual ways. One of them being butt sniffing. That's right, as weird as it is, tons of dogs like to sniff each other's butts as a way of saying hello. But why do they do this? Well, it's because dogs have an unusually sharp sense of smell, and they can tell a lot by the way another dog smells. It reveals whether the other dog is a male or female, what kind of food they eat, whether they've met before, and even what kind of mood they're in. So butt sniffing is the perfect way for dogs to get to know each other right away. Number 5, howling at sirens. Have you ever noticed your pet howling uncontrollably if they happen to hear an ambulance siren or a fire truck? Now, your first instinct might be to think that your pet is scared of all the loud noise, but that's really not the case. The truth is that the siren sounds are extremely similar in terms of their pitch to other dogs and wolves. So, when dogs hear sirens, their first instinct is to think that other members of their breeds are calling out to them, which is why they start howling loudly to respond back. Number 4, bolting out the door. Oh, no matter how lazy your dog is, it will always jump up and bolt out the door once it opens after the bell rings. Now, this might be partly because dogs just get really excited about everything, but most of the time they bolt out the door as an instinctive self-protection mechanism, not just for them, but also for their owners. Dogs bolt out the door to scare off potential threats and prevent them from getting inside. So the next time you start getting annoyed at your dog bolting out the door, remember that your pet is only trying to protect you. Number 3, searching for the perfect place to poop. Don't you ever find yourself wondering why your dog has to spend such a long time before finally settling on a place to poop? Well, the thing is that dogs consider a lot of things before finally going ahead and doing their business. They want to poop in a place where no predator will be able to sniff them out, literally. Dogs also sniff out other places where other dogs have done their business, and after that, they try and find a nearby spot for themselves as well, as a method of communication. However, the strangest reason why your dog takes its sweet time to find the perfect pooping spot is because they need to align themselves in a north-south position, because according to science, dogs just can't poop in any other direction. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? Number 2, barking at their reflection. Most dogs, if not all, really don't understand the concept of mirrors, which is why, whenever they see themselves in one, they start barking in order to try and make the reflection go away. That's because in their heads, dogs think that the reflection is some kind of ghost that's mimicking all of their moves. However, be patient, because with time, dogs learn to ignore mirrors altogether. Number 1. Barking when you leave. You might have noticed that whenever you start leaving the house, your dog starts barking uncontrollably. Now, this obviously means that they don't want you to go or that they don't want to be left alone. But the truth is that it's a little deeper than that. Your dogs have complex emotions, and when you leave the house without saying goodbye to them, they get a huge bout of separation anxiety where they feel like you might never come back. So make sure to give your dog lots of cuddles before going out and after coming back to start building their trust and letting them know that you're not going anywhere. All right, comment below which of these dog behaviors surprised you the most. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to InfoLab, and we'll see you next time. Bye.